All right, hey folks. So today I'll be talking about why I'm moving away from a bro split and what I'll be doing. So firstly, before that, thanks for making it onto my channel. If you have any comments or questions about today's video, please pop them down below. So firstly, a bit of history about me. For those of you guys who don't know much of my training history, I've been training for about 22 years. Now, when I first started lifting, I pretty much got straight into upper lowers. I was heavily influenced by some good books back in the day, which gave me a good grounding in my first few years on how to train progressively on big basics. So I actually had a pretty good start. So I started on upper lowers and I messed around at the time with full bodies, and I did my first probably 5 to 10 years on things like your typical powerlifting, power building kind of split, where I had a bench day, a squat day, a deadlift day, and an overhead press day. I did that for many, many years. And then I went into a long stretch of doing full body. And really, for the past few years, I've been focusing on one type of split for a couple of years at a time. So 2018, 2019, I did mostly upper lower. 2019, 2020, I did mostly push-pull legs. And the plan was this year I would do mostly a bro split. So I've been doing a bro split now for, what are we on, July, for roughly about 7 to 9 months, I think, something like that. I think I started it in about November last year. The plan was to do it for all of this year, and it was working really well. So there were a lot of really good positives. So at the age I'm at now, and with my training history, one big problem that I've had is injuries in the past. Okay, so injuries to various areas, hamstrings, keep pulling and stuff like that, right? So that all came about, and what I was getting from a lot of these routines like the upper lower and the push pull legs was some injuries. Now, when I switched over to a bro split, a lot of those seemed to go away. And I think it was because I was able to, on any given day, have a wide range of exercises and I could stack them in different ways. So, for example, chest day normally starts with a pec deck and then some kind of machine press, and then I use free weights. So by the time I get around to using free weights, I'm warmed up. I'm even a little bit tired, so I don't tend to use particularly heavy weights. So for like a dumbbell bench, I might only use 40-kilo dumbbells, like pretty light stuff. So by the time I get there, I'm already quite fatigued. So I'm not using any heavy weights. So it's quite nice. It feels good. And I don't really have any risk of injury at that stage because it's all like, yeah, this all feels very good. So that was really good. For the past 7 to 9 months, I've had absolutely zero injury concerns. I felt great. And I felt like I really put some good hard work in. So that's been good. Next thing is, it was quite fun to focus on one body part per day. You leave the gym with that body part absolutely exhausted, and it's quite nice. You get a feeling of, okay, you know, as unscientific as it might seem, I feel like this muscle, now I've just hammered it for a whole hour, it's probably going to grow. And so when it comes to next session, you're almost certainly stronger, and you're almost certainly probably a teeny bit bigger, even if you can't see it. And that feels good. It feels very satisfying to go just all out for an hour on one workout and go, hey, great, I did it. And the job is done. It feels very complete. Whereas if you're doing an upper routine, you might do a little bit of chest, a little bit of back, a little bit of bicep, a little bit of tricep, a little bit of delt. And not any one body part feels completely tired and fatigued. They all just feel a little bit like, meh, I kind of feel like a workout. I could probably do this again tomorrow or at least the day after, right? Push-pull legs is a bit of a better step in the right direction because you warm up one area and it all kind of gets done. But I felt really good with the bro split, and it was nice. It was good for progress, I felt. Now, let's go on to why I'm changing. So I got to the point where what I'd started to do was I felt it was really easy to ramp up the volume with bro split. And that, I think, is one of the hidden advantages of a bro split. So when you're doing, say, let's compare an upper lower. If you're doing upper lower, you've got maybe a maximum of 2 or 3 chest exercises, 2 or 3 back exercises. You don't have a whole list. On a bro split, you might do something like 5 exercises for the chest, maybe 6, maybe whatever. You've got a list of exercises. And so if you are at the point where you've done the workout, you're going through the workout and you are nearing, say, you've done, say, 10 sets maybe, and you're starting to tire, you're starting to fatigue, that's okay because you can just pick easier variations. So if you start a chest day with bench press, then go to dumbbell bench or whatever else, you can quite easily just carry that on because you can then go on to machines, then you can go on to dips, then you can go on to cables. So you can carry on ramming in the volume quite easily, quite happily. Keep working away. Whereas if you're doing an upper routine and you've only got a couple of exercises before you go on to a different body part, well, you're not really going to want to waste that. They've got to be big hitters. So you might do a dumbbell bench, you might do a barbell bench, or you even might do flies. But either way, you don't have as much variety. So you can't just keep blasting away at the same body part. So I found on the bro split, I could get more volume in for the same body part because I wasn't limited by my joints or my tendons or anything like that. I could just pick lighter exercises and just keep blasting away, blasting away, blasting away. And that was good. So it allowed me to get a lot more volume in. And I felt that was very productive. But here is where it became unstuck. And this is probably the crux of the video. It came unstuck when I was doing up to about 25 sets per body part. I'm in a phase of training now where I'm trying recompositioning. I like doing a lot of work in the gym. It helps my physique without having to bulk up. I covered this in a different video on recompositioning. And I found most of the days were okay, but there were a couple of bits which sort of really fell apart. One, leg days were horrendous. So that was probably the big thing. Quad days were awful. Not the actual session itself. I love doing the sessions. Like I like the hard work. I like getting in there, I like getting a sweat on, and it was great. But if I would do I would do a quad session on Monday and I would be sore until Saturday. Probably okay for like a day. And then, and for those of you sat at home going, well, you know what, don't be a wuss, Faz. Like, so what, leg day, that's what it's like. Yeah, I get that. But it meant that practically speaking, I couldn't do as much cardio as I wanted to do during the week because my legs were just sore. And also, every Monday night, I would have a terrible night's sleep and I'd wake up 2 or 3 in the morning. And I thought, that's just not worth the trade-off. Like, it's okay to be a gladiator, be a warrior, but losing sleep over it is probably not worth the trade-off. So consistently, every Monday night, I would have a crappy night's sleep because I trained legs that day and I'd wake up just in pain. 2 or 3 in the morning was when the soreness would kick in and I'd be like, here we go. I've got a week of this now. So there was that. No other body parts really felt that bad. Chest and back got quite sore, but nothing else really felt that bad. So that was probably the biggest reason. The other reason is I didn't feel like I was able to put as much focus on some areas as I would like, namely delts and arms, particularly biceps. I've always felt that my biceps and my delts have responded better to higher levels of frequency. And once a week just wasn't cutting it. And yes, I could have put some more volume on other days, but then it would have just been overloaded with volume and I wouldn't have the time to do that in the gym. The sessions would have been much longer than an hour and it's not really what I wanted to do. So some days the work was a little bit too much. Some days the work should have been across multiple days. And that's ultimately why I'm deciding to move back to a push-pull legs done twice a week. So push-pull legs, rest. Or probably it'll be more like a push, legs, pull, rest, just to save my shoulders a bit. And in that way, I can really pound the areas that I want to pound and also focus on some areas that I need to focus on without feeling like I'm wasting the day. So, for example, on a push day, I'm probably not going to place as much emphasis on my triceps because they don't need as much work and they get a lot of work for my pressing. And on a bicep day, on a pull day, on a pull day, I won't need as much for my rear delts because they get quite a lot of my back work and they're already quite well developed and my biceps need more work. So it allows me to individualize the day a little bit more. So that is why bro split was good. Did it for, I think it was altogether 9 months, but I will be moving back to push-pull legs done twice a week. And that I feel I'll be able to get more volume in without killing my legs on any one day, and also probably more work on areas which I feel need a little bit more frequency for me. All right, folks, hopefully that was useful. What about you? Do you like bro splits? Is that what you do? Do you personalize them at all? How do you do it? Have you experimented with volume quite as high as I have? And I'd love to hear from you on that. So speak to you all soon.